Ah! Shh. No. Shh. Sit. Shh. No. So she's barking at this thing right here that they're putting together or taking apart. Right after I stopped filming the first one, they came out with that and she started up again. So I figured I would film it and show you guys. We got this big scary thing over here. This puppy is definitely not feeling it. Thinks it's a threat. And that's fine, you know, it looks like a threat. Nothing wrong with that, you know. Velocity, leave her alone. So, while it may have looked like Midnight's approach was friendly, it really wasn't. Midnight was very unsure, and she was actually doing more of a perimeter check with that guy than anything. And after he checked out okay, she wagged her tail and she was cool with it. But if you notice, she immediately walked away from him. She didn't want any of his attention. She wasn't going to him for praise. She went to him to make sure that he wasn't a threat. Ah! No. And you could see it on her face. That's how you can read it on her face. She wasn't looking for, ah! See, and the thing is now, you've seen me lay dogs down into submissive posture. I will do that to a dog, but I only do it when the dog doesn't listen to me. Ah! Shh. Back over here, Midnight. You see how she stops and she listens to me? Well, I don't have to push it any farther than my voice because she's listening to me. If she didn't, if she didn't listen every time, then I would have to come in and take it to another level. I have to keep amping up my pressure until she gives in. So there, you know, if you want to ask yourself, well, how far do I have to push it? Well, the question is, how far do you have to push it to get control of the situation? Okay, that's how far you have to push it. You know, if you have to lay your dog down like you've seen me do with that black brindle female and even Bishop yesterday, that's because he didn't back down. That's because he's not listening. We don't even have his attention. Whereas with Midnight, I do. So I don't really have to go that far with it, you know, because I always say, use the minimum amount of pressure possible to get the desired result. And so, and that's why I'm not going to that length with her, because I don't need to. As you can see, she's watching. She's unsure. She wants to bark. You can see it on her face sometimes. She wants to, but she's doing everything she can not to. Now she's keeping an eye. She's not going to stop watching, but she's behaving herself, you know. And that's why I tell people, telling your dog not to bark at strangers isn't going to make them not protective, okay? You can't take that out of her. Do you see this dog right here? Does she look any less protective? Does she look any less wary of those people? No, she's still watching them. The only difference is she learned a different approach on how to deal with her anxiety and fear about what they're doing. That's it. She knows now. See? Do you see it? You see how she's getting? She wanted to. She thought about it, but she didn't. She's learning. You see how she looked at me? I've got her attention. I'm controlling her behavior. And I know that because she's looking at me to make sure that I'm okay with what she's doing. And that's how I know that she's respecting my authority, because she's looking at me. You can always tell if your dog respects you and if you have their attention by whether or not they're actually looking at you or not when you're talking to them. And this is really great training, to be perfectly honest with you. This whole air thing that they're putting up is great because it's big, it's scary. You know, it's making a lot of weird noises they've never heard before. And it came out of the water towards us. So of course that's scary. Looks like a huge predator coming up at us. And yet despite all of that, she listened to me, she calmed down, and she's over here using different methods of dealing with this situation. Situation that really doesn't call for aggression. And so she's just sitting and watching them. Just like Preacher. Preacher, he knows now. He just sits and watches. And what's crazy about him is when he does act, there have been a couple times where he has stepped in when he felt it was necessary. And I'll tell you what, every time it was. And he's one of those dogs you never see it coming because he's just like how she's being over here. He just sits and he watches and he observes. And then when he sees that it's time, he just, you know, he knows and he springs into action. And he's never bitten anyone. He's never done anything bad. But one time he protected me from a dog that tried to bite me. And another time some guy was being really weird in our neighborhood and was kind of running up towards us in a very, like, it was nighttime, and just, we live in a nice neighborhood, but people, you know, people tend to keep their distance when people are walking. Hey, quiet down. And Velocity, quiet down. Come here. And anyway, and the guy was running right towards us to the point that I stopped. I was like, what is this guy doing? So I like stopped and watched him, and he still kept running towards us. Well, then Preacher like jumped forward and did this loud bark, you know, and he was kind of standing up real proud. And the guy just kind of did a little, you know, little arc around us. Didn't say a word. It was the weirdest thing, I swear. And Preacher didn't try to go after him or anything, but he definitely let that guy know, I don't know what you're up to, but you're not going to do it here. I almost wonder if he was like one of those like tough guys who thought he was going to test my dog and see if my dog was really going to do anything, or if he was just big and pretty. And Preacher let him know in no uncertain terms that he was very serious. So, you know, I've seen what these dogs do, and best believe that if they think they need to protect you, there's not anything you can do to stop them. So the best thing you can do is show them everything so that they never make a bad judgment call, because you want to protect them. You know, it's like kind of having a loaded gun. You know, you want to have the safety on, and the only way to have the safety on with one of these dogs is to have it well trained and to take it out and socialize it. And that way, it never points at anything that's not a threat. It's important. Hello, sugars.
He's a good girl.
Poor Blondie. She is just so... They're all so tired. We've been out here so long. It's been a long, amazing day. It's been a great day. You know that you ever heard that saying, it's all fun and games till someone gets hurt? That is my daughter and Alex's motto. That's their motto. That's every day for them. Fight and wrestle until someone gets hurt and starts crying and complaining and gets mad. See, that's what I'm talking about. Throwing rocks at each other as if somehow that's a good idea. We see you! Anyway, I hope you guys have a great Saturday. We're gonna pack up and leave now. So y'all have a good day. We'll talk at you later. Bye.